Hello, I'm Alex Bullivan, and welcome to Noodles is an interior designer for Invisicorp. Today I'm going to be sort of discussing some level design concepts. I'm going to gloss over my limited knowledge of 1950s architecture. I'm going to take a bit of a look at the language of cinema and how they all come together to create the first thing that you, the player, will see when you boot up a fresh Foxy Boxes save. All of this is subject to change so far. Anything could change at any time, but I'm pretty happy with where we are and what we've made. So, a little bit about me. You guys will know by now, or most of you will know certainly, that I'm the musician for Foxy Boxes. But I've also got a background in photography and in filmmaking. So I've been tasked with designing some levels and building some levels and doing some stuff. So this is the first thing you'll see. There'll be a camera panning around, and Raposa, our main character, will be on this table being experimented on and stuff like that. Oh, before we start, imagine everything with more clutter. We're going to fill stuff out. This was born yesterday. So imagine everything with more clutter. But yes, so camera will be panning around. Raposa will be on this table. Things will be happening, and then the screen will go black, and then we will wake up in here, in Raposa's holding cell. This is a cage that Invisicorp keep her in, and they drag her out when they want to test on her, and then they throw her back in when they are done. I don't think there's a way to do this without discussing the first cutscene, to be perfectly honest, but we're going to show you how we make that anyway, so there's no real spoilers. It's the first thing you see. We'll be fine. So, due to things that happen in there, in that room we were just in, Raposa is now very strong, so she will break out of her cage, and then she'll be here, and then Renard, our other main character, will be over there, and he'll be like, "Hey, bust me out!" And Raposa will rip this door off and throw it over there. They will collect some things. There'll be a sort of futuristic communications device that Renard picks up, and Raposa will find an elevator keycard somewhere, and then both foxes will hightail it out here, and then the camera will look over there, and then it will look back, and then this is where the player gets agency. That's the end of the cutscene. This is where you, the player, will start having something. The plan is to have it so through many ways I want the player's eye drawn to that elevator over there, which brings us on to the crux of the video, I guess. So these pillars here are a really good tool for me to explain a lot of the concepts that have gone into designing this corridor, this building. So with them there, it's really difficult for the player to sort of organically, like, you're walking down here, you're following Renard, who's running. There are scientists and people in the building who are like, "Oh no, the foxes are out," and there's giant green, imagine they're green, I'm going to see if we can get them changed to like proper exit signs, but for the time being the granite blocks are exit signs, but imagine they're exit signs. So like Renard's running, there are people screaming, there's exit signs pointing towards this elevator. It makes sense that you'd run towards it, and then of course in the first cutscene you will have looked over there as well, you will have seen it using this gorgeous frame-in-a-frame thing that I love so much. But with these pillars here, it's quite difficult to organically see that, certainly in comparison to if they're not there. Like we've run out here. Giant open space, your eye is more drawn to that all of a sudden. But I want the pillars there for several reasons. So let's start by discussing the language of cinema. So the language of cinema, for people who don't know, is You'll have watched films and you'll have seen several things be done in many places by different people. One of the things that's all part of cinematic language. There are just things that you do in production or in someone's lit from underneath. It looks scary and they're probably an evil villain or something like that. It's part of the language of cinema. So one of the concepts I'm using, something I'm borrowing from my knowledge of filmmaking, is the use of horizontal lines to convey being trapped. So something in cinematic language is if a character is shot, if an actor is shot through horizontal or vertical lines, so be it like a fence or Venetian blinds or something like that, it's that means that person is trapped. Perhaps physically, they could be trapped behind the fence, or they could be trapped behind a Venetian blind, I guess. But more often than not, it's a metaphor for that person is trapped, be it within themselves or within a situation that they're in. That's what horizontal lines mean in when someone is behind them. So of course, these bars here are quite literal lines that are trapping Raposa. But I want this entire building to feel that when you've broken out, you're still kind of trapped. Because this entire building is a prison to Raposa, certainly. And I want to convey that with these lines, because if you notice, these pillars are everywhere. And I want to get that. I want to convey that feeling of being trapped by repeating the prison bars on every wall throughout. I also like how asymmetrical this corridor is, because it really draws the eye into this foyer area that I really like. We'll show you down there later. But yes, so language of cinema, horizontal lines mean that the character is trapped. You're not necessarily behind them in this, but I'm taking liberties and I'm using the concept and I'm applying it to here to turn the entire building into one cage, I guess. Designing the level itself, because again, like being able to see the exit right from the start was a conscious design choice. Having these bars here, conscious design choice. I had to do some floor plans and stuff like that. And something that I really want to stress to new creatives and stuff like that is when you plan something, it will change. Sometimes drastically, sometimes less drastically. So this is the blueprint for this building. And you can see here that there's this massive empty gap here, and there's some windows in this wall. Originally, I wasn't going to have the foyer. I was going to have some windows looking out over the car park. But then you come out of this door here, which is of course this door, and you can see the exit now through this gap in the foyer and from the balcony. So instead of having these windows and these walls, I sort of knocked this wall through, put a foyer here, because certainly for me, I'm not very good at visualizing things in 3D space. I have to kind of be standing in them. So it's also not 2 blocks either. One of these squares is not 2 blocks. I built it like that, and of course it was far too short, because this would have been 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 blocks long. I think it's 20. I think everything's scaled up twice. But anyway, things change from the original plans, is my point. Also, this was inspired by there's an office building near where I live that has. I know a lot of office buildings have this, but there's an office building near where I live that has these balconies that look down into a foyer, and I really like the design of the building, so I nicked that. But yes, anyway, so that's that. Where are we? The architecture. So we've discussed the language of cinema and my choices. Another thing before we move on to that. I wanted it so obviously we feel trapped in this building because of all the bars and stuff like that. I also wanted the first thing you see when you exit that room to be this massive eye at the end of the corridor, because this entire building literally screams, "You're trapped and we're watching," and I quite like that. I think that's a nice bit of design, if I don't say so myself. But anyway, yes. So, architecture. I don't know a lot about architecture, but I think, and from what I've read from level designers in the industry, a lot of people agree that if you're going to be designing levels, a functioning working knowledge of architecture is kind of a good thing to have. So I did some research, and I came across this style of architecture known as Brutalism, or Brutalist architecture. It is a 1950s architectural thing. It's I think Soviet era Russia is where it came from, but it was used in England in the 60s, I want to say. I did a lot more sort of studies of the buildings themselves, but I thought I'd do a bit of reading into the history of it just to see if there's anything else that I could glean from that. These buildings are just usually raw concrete. You can see they're a bunch of cubes or certainly geometric shapes stacked on top of each other. Most of the time, complete... Oh, wow, look at that. I adore this art style, this architectural style. That's not... But yes, look at... Point being... Anyway, one of the princes, I think it's Philip? One of the princes, one of the English royal family... very vocally against brutalism. He does not like it, but yes, no, I love it. Look at it; it's delightful. But it's very, I mean, it's called brutalism for a reason. It's very there, very raw, very function over form and stuff like that. And if we look at the Brutalist Interiors. This is what they look like on the inside. I used this picture was one that I drew a lot from, and I absolutely adore these pillars, drawing the eye to that elevator. It's frame within a frame, this is called, and I use it a lot when I'm doing photography or cinematography or director of photography work. I use a lot of frame within a frame to guide the viewer's eye towards places that I want the viewer to be looking. A lot of people do. It's a very common practice in filmmaking. But yes, so obviously brutalism is very, very overbearing as an architectural style. It's very not one with its surroundings by its very nature. I mean, look at that. Like, they're intimidating buildings, and I wanted to, and of course Invisicorp is an intimidating. We want them to feel intimidating and overbearing, so immediately I thought, okay, cool, brutalism seems to be the way to go, because, you know, Invisicorp's large and overbearing, and so are brutalist buildings. Also, there's a lot of hard lines in brutalist architecture, which makes it very easy to transfer these kinds of styles into Minecraft, because it's just a gigantic rectangles is what most of these are. It's very easy to translate into the giant cube game. But yes, so also brutalism used a lot in areas of the world that have experienced economic downturn. Britain used it after the war. That's what it was, when a lot of things had been bombed in the Blitz and such. Brutalist architectural works are cheap, easy to build, and they go up quickly. So, of course, that's where you pump your money into cheap, easily constructed buildings, architectural works. And I thought that Invisicorp would be all over that. It's like, we've got a bunch of... We need to build a bunch of facilities. Don't break the bank. Just get the buildings up and then look after our profit margins, because that's the kind of universe that Foxy Boxes is taking place in. So yes, brutalist architecture, married with some concepts from the language of cinema, to make a... to make... a level that I think is quite nice, or a bit of a level that I think is quite nicely designed conceptually, architecturally, and then you run into this elevator and the tutorial starts proper. Yes, tutorial. So you come out of your cage and you walk out here. I say you, the cutscene, you walk out here. You look over there. You can tell how many times I've done that as well, just by the fact that this is going to be really embarrassing if I mess this up now. It's like you come out of here and you look over there, and then you look back. You know you're supposed to go over there now, and there'll be alarms and people screaming, and Renard will be booking it down the corridor, and there's these exit signs because you'll look up and stuff like that. And you'll start, and then you'll be allowed to walk around. And the idea is that you just go to the exit, go down, continue on with your life. especially if you're speedrunning as well. Sparks is quite hot on the idea of having this game be speedrunnable and designed partially with speedrunning in mind. So that's also something I have to take into account when I'm designing levels as well. I have to have a path of least resistance for speedrunners. But I also want the exact opposite of that. I really like the idea of, once you've done this, you've got this massive eye, and you've got some rooms. So you'll be drawn towards this eye, possibly, if you're the kind of person that's inquisitive and doesn't just run straight for the exit, or if you're on a repeat play or something like that. You might be like, okay, let's go have a look at this, and you come here, and this door is here. And I want something in here, or indeed in the other lab, but the other lab, you'll see the doors when you go past it. And again, you might be tempted to be like, is there a door here? There is. Hey, look at that. But I want to reward the inquisitive, because Foxy Boxes, certainly the way I'm writing with my input on the story and the script writing, which is another one of my jobs on this project, is Foxy Boxes is a game about exploring and finding. At its core, that's what the narrative is kind of about. It's about exploring things and finding yourself and other things and such. And I want to, as this is the tutorial, this entire area is the tutorial, I want to tutorialize early on the idea that if you look around levels, you're going to find secrets and you'll be rewarded for exploring, because we are designing levels with that in mind. And I want to reward the player for exploring. So, a question that I have for viewers, prospective players, people interested in the project, is we have two options for like a hard focus. One thing is you do your exploring, you walk around the level, and you go in here, and there's a health pickup or an armor pickup or something like that. So that's the Doom model, where like you walk in here and there's a chainsaw, can't promise. But there's a tangible, useful thing that you can use. It'd be a health pickup or armor or something like that. The other thing that we could focus on, and me, the world-building nerd, the world-building geek, is behind this one. You could come in here and there'll be like a codex entry in air quotes. We're not doing exactly that, but it'll be that kind of thing. It'll be lore on the game and the universe. And believe me, I'm writing a lot of lore. This universe is arguably bigger than it should be, and I would tell you that you're wrong. That's an incorrect statement. But yeah, so you could run in here. Of course, there's nothing stopping us having both. Like, we could do that easily. But I guess the question I have for you, the viewer, the player, is how much of a focus would you like on... or how much of a focus would you think is appropriate for hiding secrets, expecting the player to find the secrets, and kind of sometimes those secrets to just be things about the universe? Are you guys particularly interested on repeat playthroughs or something like that, hunting down individual scraps of lore? Is that kind of the are you guys the kind of player base that's interested in that kind of thing? That kind of stuff, you know? Because I'm writing a lot of lore for this universe. It's a very fun universe to write for, and I really want to share that with you, the player. Bugger. So yes. Anyway, that's basically it. I'll be if you're watching the premiere, I should be in the chat right now, talking and answering any questions you guys may have. If not, I will be on the Foxy Boxes Discord regularly enough to be able to answer any questions you may have. So if you have any questions, ask away. Happy to discuss these kinds of level design. Happy to discuss story. Happy to discuss anything, really. It's something I find really fun, especially world building. If you get me started on world building, I won't stop. So there's your official warning. Before we wrap up, I want to show you down here, because peek behind the curtain, most of this isn't modelled. Because and again, like, we have this is the only bit down here that's modelled. We have a bit over here that it's the same as the floor above. But basically, any angle that you can see from up here has been modelled, and any angle you can't has not been, because performance and patience, the two P's of level design. So you can kind of see in there and such if you jump and whatever. It just looks like I've done my job. But yes, I really, if you go through the Invisicorp dev entrance, I really like that image. I really like the roof. If I don't say so myself, this was inspired by the lobby scene from The Matrix, which I think is quite apparent. I also really like this waterfall. I'm thinking of having like an Invisicorp logo here and such. There's a front desk. I like it so much to the point where I'm considering building the rest of this building just so we can use this in a cutscene. I don't know, but anyway, I just wanted to show that off. We'll go have a look at the roof as well, so you can see the layout from above and kind of look at that. Again, brutalist architecture, and originally I was thinking it was like a bit cubism-y, but it's Minecraft, so of course it bloody is. But yes, I like this design as well. That's quite nice. So you can see, kind of we stuck to the original blueprint. We just added a foyer here, and did that. But yes, cool. So yes, there's that. Like I said, any questions? I'll be in the Discord. I'll be in the comments. Any questions you might have, I'll be happy to talk and answer. But yes, anyway, so thank you for watching my little segment on world building and level design and design concepts and such. I will catch you the next time I have something to talk about, which will probably be story or music, one of the two. I don't know. I'm out. Peace. Wait, I lied. There's more. It's a few days later, and Duck has been doing some work. As we can see, there are so many things. Just delightful. There's I keep calling this two-way glass. It's one-way glass. Two-way glass is just glass. Right, yes, okay. So there are things. There's boxes. There's filing cabinets. I'm loving the art style, and he's done such a nice job on all of this. It's very PS1-y, like cell shaded. Cell Damage Overdrive is the game I keep thinking of, which is a fantastic game. But yes, while we're here, let's look at it in context and stuff like that. Usually, if you're very lucky, you'll see purple shooting out. Purple lines shooting out from the front of the ship. Incidentally, this is the first time I've been on the ship, and it is just chef's kiss. Anyway, let's have a look at the building in context. First thing you'll notice, if you've got a keen eye, is that Duck's been in here and he's done some work, kind of making this slightly more better. I guess make more sense as a Minecraft build. I can spout architecture all day, but at the end of the day, you need a builder to actually make your build look good. Still the waterfall. This is just a lovely image. I'm very happy with my work here. Enough patting myself on the back. Let's go to the top floor. So we have a few things. As I've said, you'll notice the textures. We have wall textures. We have floor textures now, which very happy with. Love this floor texture. It's very pretty. We don't have anything in here yet. No, we don't. So the other lab probably isn't textured either. Again, I know it's like 30 seconds since I spent best part of half an hour in here, but it's been a few days. So exit signs. Yes, Duck has made the exit signs. Absolutely beautiful. As I say, very PS1-y, very Cell Damage Overdrive, which is a fantastic game. The cleaning cupboard, it's fine, it's still here. Can we still come out and is that very visible? Maybe. Anyway, right, let's go through here. Through the here. English. We have card readers on the door, and that'll go green. When is that pulsating? Is that? Oh, it changes colour subtly. So, Duck is very good. I'm gesticulating wildly. Duck is very good at subtle things like that. That when you notice. You notice I knocked this off the wall. That button replaces it. But yeah, so when you come up to the door, this will open, that will go green and stuff like that. I spent quite a long time trying to work out what we were using for bars. It's just a texture on an arm stand. I'm not a Minecraft Cody person, so I forgot we could do that. This is that one-way glass. I had to think about that. Look at this. Look at this room now. It's so very nice. Again, it's just fuzzing a bit, I guess. Who knows what that's... What is this for? Let us know. And then I'll add it to the lore if I find it particularly funny. Yes, we have this glass. We have boxes underneath here. We have more microscopes, I guess, spare microscopes in case we need a second or a third one. Then we have a desk over here underneath this light, and then through here, that one-way glass is by far my favourite thing about all of this so far. It's a detail that you might never see, and it's so good. All of this is great. Anyway, right, so yes, now we're done. Now we're actually done. But yes, so I'm now aware that I'm signing off this video completely. There's no one talking after me. So thank you very much for watching. That's the colour it goes when you go through it. By the way, that's what the on version looks like. Thank you very much for watching. As I said, we have a Discord, and Sparks is on Twitter, I guess. So are Duck and I, and yes, hope you enjoyed this little insight into architecture and I was going to say texturing, but really all I've done is show you them. Anyway, I'm done. Goodbye.